Hello everyone, this is Justin Paolini here at Building a Trader. I'm starting this video where I left off yesterday after doing the webinar with Forex Tester where we were applying my systematic trend filter to Bitcoin. I intended to go through some time periods from 2017 until now that a trader friend of mine told me were rather challenging periods to trade Bitcoin, and unfortunately we didn't have enough time in the webinar. So I'm going to go through the other time periods that we weren't able to cover here in this video. So let me just open up the new project. As you know, I have never traded Bitcoin, so all of this is being done basically in real time. So the time period that we have to look at now is July 2018 to August 2018. Click next. Here, sorry, let's select Bitcoin. July 2018 to August 2018. 1 minute data is fine. Next, let's go in forward testing. New or closed, that's great. Okay, as usual, I'm going to open up the three charts that I use to keep the three time frames in check. So window, tile vertically. This is going to be a daily chart. This is going to be a 4-hour chart. This is going to be a 1-hour chart. So that way we'll have months, weeks, and days separated by the period separators that Forex Tester emulates just like MT4 does. Now we're going to update every 15 minutes because this is a low frequency approach. It's simple to operate even if you're trading around a day job. So let's go. Let's just squeeze the chart here. Let's squeeze the hourly a couple of times. So just to remind you of what we're waiting for, we need price to actually show continuous momentum on both the daily, the 4-hour, and the hourly charts. And this usually means that we're looking for month to be positive, week to be breaking above a previous week's high, or at least to be positive, and the day to be positive or breaking a previous day's high if we are coming out of a pullback. Right now I can't do anything because I'm still waiting for information from the weekly chart. I don't have any information here from the weekly chart yet, so I can't do anything. We know that July is starting off positive, but I still need the other reference points before I can do anything. And I'm not even looking at the daily yet because we have to go in order. With the monthly bias, the weekly bias, and then we can go to the daily bias. So let's just see. Let's see when this week closes. Okay, so the week closed, and we have our first continuation point up here. So what I'm looking for now is a bit of structure, like a higher low or consolidation that will then allow us to insert a breakout order with a stop loss that's fairly tight. Okay, price is consolidating here on the 4-hour, so we can actually try to put the breakout order up there. Actually, we can try to just put it here. Buy stop above the day's high. Stop loss is going to be at 66.03. And let's see if we can actually break through the top there. Oh, that didn't last long. So the top got sold. Okay. Not much to do there. We lost 0.5% on this first trade. But as you can see, if we hadn't had a stop loss in there, it would have been a much more painful ride. So a stop loss did its job. Now we're testing the lows. So of course, if we break through the lows here, then the bias would flip to a short stance. And of course, we're not trading that because on Bitcoin, as we said in the webinar, we're only looking to trade it from a long stance. So we remain flat until the market actually turns back into a long stance. So we are in a short stance right now, breaking below the previous week's low. And now we just wait. So the week is closed negative. With a negative close, the only thing I can do is trade a break of the previous week's high if we get there after printing a bit of structure, because otherwise we remain in the negative stance. So we actually need a break of the previous week's high if we're going to actually shift the bias. So right here you can see that we're coming really close to the previous week's high. Momentum is pushing up. So if I want to try and trade a break there, right now my stop would have to be approximately at 65.88. So let's just try that. Let's see if it's approximately the same trade we tried the week prior. Sorry, buy stop. And it's going to be at 67.20 approximately. Stop loss is going to be 65.88. Place order. Okay, we actually have these higher lows here. We could have been a bit closer in terms of a stop loss, but that's fine. I think we just got executed. Wow. Okay, let's insert our Fibonacci tool so that we can actually see what kind of a return we're already at. This has gone up to 4R, so I'm definitely going to scale out of this position. Okay, close part, 0.19. I'm going to also trail a stop because you don't want to give back anything after a move like that. Now let's see, we're just going to trail this, trail the stop on this move, trying not to give back too much. I can actually move the stop up here now. Not pip perfect, of course. We're going to give it a bit of leeway in case it wants to come down and test this low. Let's go here. Made a higher close, so I can actually trail the stop now. I could trail it all the way to here. I'm just going to give it a bit of leeway. Oh, there we go. Stopped out. Okay, so we got, I think we made about 2% on this move because we had lost 0.5% on the first trade, and we're up just over 1.5% on this trade now. So we're doing pretty well. Let's see what happens now. So this day was a retracement day. After retracement day, in order to get back in the market, we need a break above the high with a bit of structure. So I'm going to place the order here. The stop loss for the moment is 71.34. I'm going to adjust the stop loss, which will automatically adjust the position size as the market continues to trade. It's gaining a bit of traction. And the stop loss can be trailed up to there because if it's going to break through, that's the most recent low. If it breaks through from here, that will be the most recent low. Let's see what happens. Okay, here. And now our engagement level is the previous day's high, so I can actually shift this down and move this stop up. Okay, so we are triggered. Let's see if we can get anywhere before we get stopped out. Okay, this is showing a strong rejection from the top. Um, we weren't able to reach even 1R before this thing moved back down. So I'm going to cut this trade before it reaches our stop loss right now, because this is not the kind of performance I like to see. Close position. And now, of course, the re-engagement level is up here. And we will see if we can print any structure before we actually break through, because otherwise that's going to be a very large stop loss. Okay, you can see it is boosted all the way up. Hopefully it doesn't trigger us. Yeah, it's triggered us. Okay, so that's a very wide stop loss. Now we're in the market, and this is why I prefer, just like I showed you in the webinar, to not position the entry orders automatically, but to wait for some structure to be printed first, because you just don't know what your risk reward is going to be before the trade is triggered. And this is a very poor risk reward. It's a tremendously large stop loss, which means a very small position size, and it's not really optimal. But let's see if we can get at least to 1 or 2R to be able to scale out of this position. Okay, we reached 1R, so right now I am very happy to trail the stop here. At least if the market comes back down, it cannot stop us out of all of our profit. Okay, we reached 2R. I am going to scale out and 0.008, because the size of the stop loss was just so big that I don't know how far this thing can run. It would have been nice to, for example, enter the market here on this break. Okay, after having printed these lows, because there you have a little bit of a structure, and you have a much tighter stop loss. And so you can see that up to here we would have been at a 3-to-1 or potentially 4-to-1 risk reward already. So your stop loss waiting for structure really is important. It's made a higher close on the hourly, so I'm going to trail the stop to here. Not perfect, because we can come back down and test, especially with the volatility of Bitcoin. So let's just continue. Made the higher highs. I'm going to lock in some more profit now. There we go, and we were stopped out. So of course, with the wide stop loss, we didn't really make much on this trade, but we were able to still increase the profit. So we have 2 losses, 2 wins up to now, but of course the wins are much bigger than the losses, and so we're profitable. Now let's see what happens. Obviously the re-engagement point right now is this day's high. It looks like we're going to close the day negative, and at least based on this performance. And of course that would mean that this is the re-engagement point, and so we would like to wait for the market to print some structure and offer us, a decent risk-reward solution before playing this breakout. It's not even coming close to the day's high, so I'm in no rush to place the order. The downside momentum has accelerated, so when I see this, I feel if we were trading FX, which is my specialty, I would know that at least for the next 2 or 3 days, there's probably not going to be any long trades to be taken. Okay, in FX, I would be actually looking I'd be sitting still right now. If this had been generated off of a newsprint, I would have been looking to play this off of the news, because we are still within the context of an uptrend based on the trend filter. Okay, we're just lacking momentum right now. It's only the daily that has to click back into place, because we're coming from a positive week. We still are positive on the current week, so we do just need a break of the previous day's high. But with this kind of negative momentum, it's very improbable at the moment. So we really need the market to turn around and show an aggressive reversal if it wants to move higher. So far, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. This is what you want to see. So right now, if we do print some structure here, I would be ready to place. I'm going to be ready to place the order on the breakout above the previous day's high. Okay, this is a rather wide stop loss, but it's just for okay 79.88. You have to remain systematic. Notice that I'm using a fixed fractional position sizing model here with 0.5% being risked on each trade. So, if we do trigger, then, this is going to be our stop loss, and then we will calculate the risk reward if the trade is triggered. So let me just resize this. The market is not printing any more structure to the upside, so already with the lower close here, this is invalidating the higher low, because you want to trigger the trade while there's higher lows being printed here intraday. There are lower lows being printed, so at this point I'm going to pull that order. View pending orders. I'm going to delete the pending order. Now let's see what happens as we continue here. We are entering into August, and as you can see, the month of July was very positive. So we are still waiting. We're still positive from the trend perspective. This current week seems to be closing negative. That means that we would need a positive weekly close to even think about going long. But let's see what happens. The week still isn't closed. We are coming from a positive previous week, which means that we're still waiting for just a break of a previous day's high here, but nothing is really happening up to now. We're still heading lower. Momentum, you can see momentum is visibly still to the downside. We still haven't had any strong, bullish reversal. And now we're back below the previous week's low. So right now, we're really looking at an acceleration of downside momentum. This is significant. I mean, breaking the previous week's low it means there's usually heavy participation. If I were talking about foreign exchange, I would say there's decent negative participation here. There's a decent reason for prices to be pushing lower. So let's see what happens. I'm not expecting any buying opportunities here. I'm expecting prices to still move lower. See, look at the gap down. We're still going down, and we're just waiting. I'm just going to accelerate this here because we're in no risk of having any trades at any point soon, because we're well below previous week's lows. We're actually down testing near the lows of July. Okay, and remember that if we get a daily close below those lows in July, let's see. Where are the lows? The lows from July were down here, so I have to put a line there because we're getting pretty close to flipping to a short stance. Let me take this out. That way we're not confused. So if we get a daily close below here, we're actually flipping to a short stance. Okay, so right now we're in a long stance. We're retracing within the long stance. But if we get a daily close below here, we're in a short stance. So let's see. And then to switch back to a long stance, we would actually need a close way above the July high. So this is a very, very deep correction. We almost closed and shifted to a short stance, but the market was able to find buyers down there. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like a fake out of the previous month's low. So let's see. If I were trading FX, this might be actually interesting. I would have liked to see the day actually close, above these previous lows, but still, this is, it's Bitcoin. I don't know it that well. It's an interesting piece of information. We're definitely not buyers yet because, momentum and trend, I mean, the trend is up, but momentum is still down, on the weeklies as well. And, we need a break of a previous week's high, which is still up here, to flip to a long stance. But still, the long bias is still holding on. Barely, but it's still holding on. Okay, so the week closed positive. This is good. So all we need now is for the market to print some structure and to break above the previous week's high. So, we saw this is a wide stop loss right now, and we're not even, we're starting to find a rejection around the 64.80s. So I just want to see some structure above there, and then we can hypothesize placing an order. Okay, so now the focus is, of course, on the hourlies. Now we went back down. So, you can see we went back down to test these previous lows. We're not printing any structure yet. I mean, we just printed a one higher low here. It's not doing anything interesting to me. I would like to see, we need a break of this previous day's high at least. So I'm basically just holding still right now. There's nothing that's interested me as of yet. Okay, so the market just boosted through without printing enough structure for me to be interested. Okay, the market just boosted through, and so I'm not chasing the market. I'm not going to trade this. I will trade a break higher if the market prints a higher low, and I'll try to get in the market at that point. But let's see what happens. Let me just raise the engagement level. So it's up here. And let's see if the market prints a bit of structure. Let me slow down the candle prints at this moment. Okay, the market printed a lower high, so I'm not going to engage anytime soon. And it's all the way back down. Okay. So at this point, this volatility is kind of confusing, but what have we done? The market has broken through the previous week's high. Okay, and all we need now is we need a positive daily close. Now this day seems like it's closing negative. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Yeah, so this day closed negative. In order to engage to the long side, okay, we need a positive daily close right now. So let's see. Because otherwise, if we don't get a positive daily close, this is the re-engagement level up here, and we're quite a ways away, right? So I would never place an order just with a blind breakout here. The stop loss is just ridiculous. So we need to print, a couple of days of momentum, of positive momentum to get back up here. So let's see what happens. Okay, so right now we have a positive day, okay, positive daily close, and we've already broken through the previous day's high. So at this point, this is now the re-engagement point. If we print a bit of structure, we need it to be a high. There was a rejection there, so I suspect that's going to be a high. But I need it to be a high and with a higher low, and I can actually sort of try and get in the market there. So let me just trail down the re-engagement point. Okay, let's verify that's going to be a high. Okay, that is a high. And now I need a higher low on the hourly. That has become a low. So, buy stop. Stop loss is going to be 64.00 because this isn't a blind breakout. This is a This is basically a continuation of a momentum step. So the market could go up and come back down to test the 64.19s before it actually continues. So I'm actually going to keep that a bit further away. I could keep it down at 63.70 because I don't know just how violent Bitcoin is. Let's see if this kind of stop loss works. Okay. Okay, so this is good. It's found buyers there, which means that this level here is where the market could potentially come back down to test. So you know, a stop loss way back here is safe. If it really does come back down to probe below there, I mean, it's kind of unlucky. Okay, we've been triggered. There we go. There's the test. So we survived the test. Okay, now I'm going to trail the stop because, you know, it printed a low. A low has been confirmed. The market shouldn't come back down there. Okay, we should move higher. Let's see what happens. Okay, we're through. Now let's add Fibonacci retracement. Okay, just like in the webinar, we are going to try and trail our stop if we get to 1 hour. We're going to scale out if we get above 2 or 3 hour. So let's see if we can move up there. We're above 1 hour, and I really don't have a place to trail the stop, so I'm just going to reduce my risk a bit by moving here. We can still come back down to test this level, or at least test the breakout, test the gap. So let's see here. There we go. Oh, nice. Nice move. Okay, we're up to 3R. I'm definitely going to close part of my position right now, and I'm going to trail the stop to here. Okay, I could trail it, I mean the hourly low, I could trail it to here if I wanted to be aggressive, but with Bitcoin, from what I've seen so far, yesterday in the test and today, you know, I want to give it a bit of leeway. I mean, we've scaled out, we've protected our position, so we really aren't in any danger. This is the most recent hourly higher low, so now I am going to trail it here. We're up to 4R. Now I can actually trail up here. 5R, we've reached 5R in this trade. I could trail to here. I'm just going to trail to here. Give it space. Higher close. I'm going to trail to here. Okay, we were stopped out on the rest of the trade here. That's not bad. So we're basically at the end of August too. So in this difficult, apparently it was a difficult moment to trade Bitcoin, but we've come out between July and August with a 3.7% return. And as usual, I am going to download the account history. Okay, export to Excel. And I'm going to save the trades for you so that you can download them and you can dump them into an Excel sheet and analyze them for yourself, etc. I'll have this for you in a link here below the video. So now, of course, we're going to shift to the next time period. So new project. This is going to be Bitcoin from June 2019 to July 2019. So we're always doing the summer. Bitcoin 2019 June 1st to 2019 July 31st. 1 minute data is fine. Next. Okay, we're using forward testing mode only, so we can't cheat. New York Close is good, and create. Let me open up my usual 3 charts. And go. Let's resize. So June is starting off negative. So we need June to flip to a positive stance before we can think of buying it all, right? So the daily has to flip to a positive bias. We have to get back above here. Let's just put that in there. This is one of the good things I like about Forex Tester. You can just let the market, do its thing, trade. You can accelerate it, and this just, reminds me of how it is possible to trade around a day job with a system like this. It's very, very, it's not intense, low frequency, but the quality of the trades is high, even on Bitcoin. And this has been surprising during yesterday's webinar and in this session today. So it's very interesting to me. It's encouraging me to start trading Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is becoming more mainstream anyway. So we're still waiting for the market to turn positive on the month, and that's when we can start considering longs. The first week closed negative, so we just need the week to go back up and break above here. It would be nice, the best kind of trade, even that I like in FX, is to sneak an entry in the market before you actually break out, because when you break out, that's when it becomes evident to everybody. I like to get in sort of slightly before if I can, and that's why I like to see structures. So I have this kind of higher low, higher high, printing all the way up close to it, so I get a tight stop loss before the breakout. And if the thing wants to break out, then my risk reward potential is very large. If instead it comes back down, well, at least I didn't have a tremendous stop loss, and I'm not holding on and just hoping. We're trying to be efficient with our capital. Whoa, okay. Okay, so we gapped up. We gapped above it. So what am I going to do now? Now we're long. Okay, the bias is long on the daily, on the weekly here, and on the intraday stance, I should say. The monthly bias is now up, the weekly bias is now up, and the daily bias is of course up. So what do I need now? I need some kind of higher low here to try and play the next break. Okay, that's potentially a trade that I missed, so let's try and get in here. Buy stop loss. 89, 82 is a good place. Let's place the order. We're triggered. Let's see if we can get a Fibonacci tool. Let's see if we can get any benefit from this trade. We were able to reach 1 hour, so I'm just going to try and adjust the stop loss a little bit here. At least we're not risking our full amount, so we're being good risk managers, independently from whatever happens. Okay, stopped out. It's okay. We did our job properly. So now, if this day closes negative, we have our next re-engagement level. Okay, re-engagement level is here. This stays high. because we're positive on the month, on the week, and now we just need for the day to re-engage. So let's see what happens here. Of course, I want a bit of structure to be printed before I place the order. We're looking for a tight stop loss. Okay. The market has printed a positive daily close, and we're already above it. So I'm looking right now, I'm waiting for a high to be printed here. And then if we print a higher low, I will place an order. There we go. There's a low. So I'm going to place the order here. Buy stop. Now I'm going to keep the stop loss a little bit away from that higher low. Okay. So let's see if we 91.60. You never know what Bitcoin is going to do, but let's try 91.50, just a bit more. And let's see what happens. Okay, this was the previous day's high. As you can see, we're above it, and we sort of tested it. So my stop loss is a little bit further down. It's at these rejection points. We could test it. I mean, if you want it to be safe and sound, you might want to place your stop loss down here. Okay, and admittedly, that's not too big of a stop loss. It's about probably half of a daily ATR with current volatility. But let's try and keep it just a little bit tighter where it was, because that's where I put it initially. So let's not go and cheat here. Okay, the market has engaged the signal, so let's get our risk-reward calculator and see what happens. So you can see we risked big time. We risked getting stopped out big time here. I guess that's a lesson that it's important to give your trade space. Okay, we reached 1 hour. We couldn't reduce risk very much here, even though we reached 1 hour. Let's see here. Okay, we're at 2 hour. So now I can trail aggressively, and I can also reduce risk. And now we're just waiting to see what happens. Okay, this is nice. Let's trail the stop loss. I'm going to trail it relatively in a relaxed position right now because we're at 4R. I could trail it up to here. Right now I'm just going to keep it a bit more relaxed because we already scaled out just over 2R. So let's see if this thing can run further. It's printed the higher close. Now I can try and trail it here. Wow, what a gap. I mean, with a gap like this, the temptation is to exit the market. But, this is like a 10 to 12 R trade here already. So let's see if it can go any further. I mean, we'll trail the stop, trail it to this gap open here. But, you gotta sort of say thank you and hold on by trailing your stops, always protecting your profits. But, let's try and hold on when it does this. It's great. It made a higher high. Let's trail the stop. Let's keep it here, 1350. Sorry, 10,350. At least if it comes back down to test the 10,500 level, we should have a bit of space. Printed a higher close up there, so let's trail it. We're locking in a ton of profit here. Oh, now we can trail. We're just locking in profit here. As it continues up, we're just going to lock in profit. Higher highs. We're going to lock in profit after the pullback. Wow, this is an explosive movement. Okay, this looks like some kind of important rejection here, but I'm going to lock in profit up to here. I'm probably going to get stopped out here because this is tight, okay, especially talking about Bitcoin. But I mean, we've already locked in a ton of profit. I mean, we're up. Wow, this trade is delivering almost 7% on half the position. We locked in some profit on the first part of the position. This is the second half, and we're locking in almost 7%. This is a tremendous trade. It doesn't take many of these to deliver a nice year. I made a higher close. I can lock in even more. Higher close. I could lock in even more here. There we go, and stopped. Look at that volatility. Okay, that's not bad. We've taken 2 trades and we're up 7.4%. Let's see what happens after. So, of course, the engagement level right now is the high up here. And we need to print structure to get back up there. So I'm not going to place any order right now. This downwards momentum is looking rather violent too, so I'm in no mood to place any orders. We can trail down the re-engagement level, but we're quite a ways away. Okay, the week has closed positive. Okay, this is the prior engagement level. The week has closed positive. Okay, the days are still retracing, and I just need a break above a previous day's high right now to re-engage long at this point. Okay, so don't get confused by by the negative momentum or whatnot. Always remember the systematic application of what we're doing. The monthly bias is up, the weekly bias is up, the daily bias is down, and we're just waiting for the daily bias to re-engage. So let's monitor the previous day's highs. Okay, previous day's high is back down here. We did not close below the previous week's low. If we had closed below the previous week's low, then I would have wanted a break back above the previous week's high, or at least a positive week, before looking for buy signals again. Okay, so we're just holding on by a thread, basically, with a finger. And even here, we went a lot further below the previous week's low, but we're back above, and the day seems to be closing in positive territory. But we need for the day to actually close before. Okay, so there's the previous day's high. Okay. Now, this is a very tight stop loss on Bitcoin if we're going to buy there with a stop loss here. So I'm going to keep my stop loss just back down here at 10,290. Sorry, buy stop. Okay, that should be okay. And we have a lot of space if the market wants to go back up and try and test at least this previous high or this previous high. It's a fairly decent risk reward. Okay, we've triggered. So let's move our Fibonacci risk reward tool. Okay, let's see if we can get to. Okay, we got to 1R, so we can reduce risk. Let's trail the stop a little bit. Let's see if we can scale out up at 2R. Because at 2R up here, we're getting close to the gap close, so I wouldn't mind taking a bit of profit off if we get up there. Getting close, getting close. Okay, the market is probably it's starting to falter a little bit here. I'm going to trail the stop just as a precaution. Okay. Oh well, we didn't get our scale out at 2R, but we were stopped out with a very marginal gain. But we did our job well because we're we're managing our risk well. And now the re-engagement point is, of course, previous day's high. Let's see what happens. Okay, previous day's high was up here. This day's high is here, not here. Okay, you can see this day, the high is here. That's where the day separator is. So I'm going to wait till we get up here or up here. Okay, at least to this level here, because this is more of a reaction level. Okay, and this was a reaction level as well, but it's quite a ways away from the actual daily high. So I'm not going to use this. Okay, this is, I guess, where a bit of flexibility is required. This is a reaction level. It showed rejection, but it's not the day's high, and I want to try and remain consistent. The day's high isn't a good reaction level in this particular case, so I'm going to use the reaction level that's just a bit higher up. Okay, let's see. I hope we can print just a marginally higher low before it breaks through, because otherwise the risk reward, I'm not going to take this trade because the risk reward is just horrible. Okay, maybe now we're forming a base. So I'm going to try and insert the order with the stop loss at 11,733. Place order. Okay, as you've noticed, this is no longer the higher low. This is a low that might hold if we're going to break through. It's still acceptable. I still don't have to move my stop loss. Okay, there we go. So we're triggered. Risk reward calculation. Okay, so we're already past 1R, but I don't have any higher lows to actually trail my stop to. I'm just going to reduce risk by placing it under here. At least if the thing comes back down, we're not risking the full amount. I want to get to at least 2R to scale out. Wow, it bolted all the way through. We're at 3R. I'm definitely scaling out. Okay, and now I'm trailing stop just below the swing low here. Wow, almost got stopped out on that. We're still in the market, so I'm not going to do anything else here. Making higher highs, so I'm going to trail the stop in this case. It made a slightly higher close here, so I'm going to trail a stop as soon as we can. Ah, we didn't. Okay, so we were stopped out on the rest of that trade, and now the re-engagement point is shifting up to here. Wow, strong negative momentum is coming back in. The week is positive. This week is turning into a rejection week. Okay, this week is not looking like a positive weekly close. We're actually below the week's low. Okay, so just to, I was in no hurry to take any trades, but just to pinpoint, this was the prior day's high into the Friday. The Friday closed positive, okay, but the Monday just gapped down without giving us, any worry whatsoever being triggered or whatnot. And the week closed with a strong topside rejection. Okay, so that's another sort of bearish signal. So I'm quite happy that we didn't engage the market, and now the thing is actually gapped down. So now, since we're below the weekly lows, I would actually want the market to trade back above the weekly highs. So this is going to take a while. I can actually accelerate this. Okay, so the re-engagement point is actually up here right now. Unless we get a positive weekly close, and in that case, we will move the re-engagement point to the weekly high, whatever it will be. Okay, the week has closed. So now the re-engagement point, since we are basically neutral on the month, okay, the month is basically neutral, but we're coming from a positive previous month. Okay, let's see that. Okay, we're still strongly positive here. We're holding on to the month, okay? And so basically we're only looking for a break of the previous week's high. Oh, apologies. Let me just resize this. There we go. Okay, so that's the re-engagement point there. We need to print a bit more structure because right now the stop loss is just ridiculous. Okay, the market has printed a negative day, not even a positive day, so it's looking like it still wants to retrace. Yeah, strong negative momentum. Yeah, we're at no risk of engaging anytime soon. And we're actually coming on to the end of July on the 25th, so I don't think we're going to have any more trades here for this time period. Twenty-ninth. Yeah, we're done. Well, another apparently challenging period, but we took a handful of trades, and of course I will show you the account history. I will download this for you. Export to Excel. That's book 2. There we go. And I will have this also in the link for you underneath the video. And last but not least, we are up to the current situation from January 2021. So, new project. BitCoin. January 2021 to now. BitCoin. January 2021. Forward testing, create. Okay, as usual, we open up the 3 charts. Window, tile vertically. 1 day, 4 hours, 1 hour. Update every 15 minutes, go. Okay, resize twice. And let's wait for some information here. Let's accelerate candles. I can't do anything yet because we're waiting for information. Okay, the week closed. That was a short week, but then again, we're at the beginning of January. This is our engagement point, so I'm waiting for some structure to give me a decent stop loss before we actually break through there. Yeah, the day is heading lower. Not looking too good. Okay, we're coming back up. Let's see if we can come close to the highs at all. Coming back up. Okay, let's see if around here we can print any higher lows. Okay, that's not a higher low. Let's see. that looks like it might be a low. Let's see if it's confirmed. It's confirmed as a low. So let me just place an order. I'm going to place the order. Sorry, let me just move this level. Buy stop. Stop loss is going to be at 33,129. Place the order. Now we can put this back down here, and let's see if we get triggered with this kind of trade. Oh, okay, we're engaged. Insert Fibonacci tool. All right, let's see how we do with this trade. As usual, at 1R, we're going to try and limit risk. If we get there, the way it's trading right now, we might be stopped out. Okay, we got to 1R. Let's limit risk a little bit. There we go. So we're not risking our full amount anymore. We're being good risk managers. Now let's see if we can get some upside. $2R. Okay, now we can scale out of this trade. Wow, the position size is very small, 0.001. And let's trail this to here. Higher highs, we can trail the stop to here. Wow, we survived this test. Let's see if the thing wants to go any higher. Higher closes. Okay. I can trail to here. In theory, if I want to be more aggressive, I could actually trail up to here. Okay, and actually let's do that because we don't have, it's too small position size. We don't have much flexibility either. Let's just be aggressive and lock in some profit. Oh, I got stopped out at this point. Okay, after all this, I'm going to trail a bit higher here. It's printed a higher close, so I could actually trail to here. And this is being aggressive, eh? If we could have left it back down here, but I'm locking in profit because our position size is very small, and we're doing really, really well on this trade anyway. I mean, we're already up to 4R, so I'm locking in just over 3R right now on this trade. Okay, and stopped out. So let's see what happens right now. The re-engagement point is going to be previous day's top. Okay, so let's see what happens. Negative momentum is accelerating. Wow, that was a big drop. Okay, so we're at no risk of being executed right now or doing anything. Previous day's high is now going to trail down to here, but we're so far down, I don't think we're going to be triggered at all. Okay, the week actually closed positive. Okay, you can see how the week closed positive despite the pullback. The new week is starting out negative, but since we're positive on the month, positive on the previous week, we just need a previous day's break, previous day's high to break. And this is where the previous day's high is. So let's see what happens. Okay, previous day's high is now here. Let's see if we can print a little bit of structure before we engage there. Okay, it's heading up. Heading up. So you can see, I'm not going to place the order yet because, it would be a buy with a stop loss way down here. Okay, so the position size would be really, really small, and it's not, I would look for something tighter, especially given that, right now the values are completely different from what they were back in 2017. So I would look for a tighter stop loss. Okay, we engaged. Didn't give me any structure. So right now I'm looking for a higher low here on the hourlies to be able to engage from. Okay, we're finding. Okay, this might be a decent low if it's confirmed. So I'm just going to place a buy stop there with a stop loss at 36,700. Let's see if that's confirmed as a low. Yeah. Okay, it seems like it wants to engage this trade. Okay, so as usual, we're going to trail our risk calculator over here, and let's see how far we can get. Okay, we got to 1R, so I'm going to limit the risk. I'm going to trail. I'm not going to trail it exactly to this swing low here in case it wants to go back out and test it. I'm just going to trail it to there. So we're risking probably 0.3 instead of 0.5%. So we're still managing our risk fairly well. Okay, this is looking too sharp. It's coming back down right now. So at this point, it doesn't really look like we're going to have any benefit. There we go, and we're stopped out. Oh well, this one didn't work out. So now, of course, the re-engagement point is previous day's high, and let's see what happens. Previous day's high needs to be trailed down. Now we're breaking lower. Previous day's high trailing down, but this week closed negative. Okay, you can see we opened up here and we actually closed the week negative. So this is not the engagement point. The engagement point has to be trailed back up to the previous week's high. Okay, a negative week has to be followed by a positive week or a break of the negative week's high. Okay, so that is our re-engagement point. Let's just accelerate this for a little bit. Nothing to be done here. We'll just watch BitCoin trade. Okay, negative week. We're also getting close to the January lows, so we also have to be careful now of breaking the January lows. Let me just put a line there, because we could switch to a negative stance on the month, and that would mean, just no trades at all until we actually break back above the January highs. So in the meantime, we're just waiting for previous week's break. So right now we're waiting for this previous week to be challenged. building some kind of a base, it seems. There's some strong upside momentum there. Wow. Okay, I know we touched the previous week's high, but of course there was no structure to get in this trade from way down here to way up here. So it's a decent signal. It's like, okay, well, the longs are probably going to re-engage soon, but I need some structure here in order to correctly position an entry into a trade like this. I need an actual low, and I haven't seen one yet. That was a low, but we didn't push any higher. So I'm still waiting. It's kind of reminiscent of what happened in the 2018. Was it 2018 or 2019? I remember something like this happened in today's test just earlier. So it's a decent indication, but we actually need and now we need a positive daily break. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, prior day's high is here. So if we can break above this, then with structure, then I would try and re-engage with the market. Okay, prior day's high trails down. The week has closed positive. Okay, it's rather neutral, but it is positive. And if we're going to be systematic about this, we have to obey the fact that the week is closing on a positive note. We still need a break above a previous day's high, though. So let's see if we can get one. We're building a base, it seems. It got really close. Let's see if we can print a low. Okay, we retreated. So that's the re-engagement point. Okay, we're building again. Wow, it shot all the way through. Okay, there was really no structure there to be used. So right now I'm waiting for the market to retrace, print a low, and allow me to re-engage through whatever high is going to be printed. Okay, that's a low. That's the most recent high. Now it's this low, and that's the most recent high. So let's see if we can do any better. It's getting close. Okay, I have to place the entry order here because we might not get any higher lows because we're so close. Stop loss has to be at 34,000. No, that's too far away. 34,000. Is it 400? Yeah, there we go. It's quite a wide stop loss, but what can you do? Okay, we're engaged, and let me just insert our Fibonacci tool so we can measure the risk to reward. Okay, where we almost reached 1R. Okay, we reached 1R. I'm going to significantly reduce risk. Okay, printing higher highs. I can now trail to par. We hit 2R, so I can actually scale out of this trade now. Close part. 002. Trail stop to here. Got the higher close. Wow, strong rejection from the top. I wonder, it might get stopped out now. Yeah, there we go. We're able to make a little bit on this trade as well. And let's trail the engagement point to the new highs. So previous day's high is the engagement point. We're getting close. Let's see if we can print some structure before we break through it. Okay, we actually broke through it already. So on the next high or low, I'll try and break through the most recent highs. This day here is shot up aggressively already. I'm not too sure what's going to happen, but we have to try and do this. Stop loss 38,720. Place order. We're engaged. Let's just move our tool up. Let's see if we can get to 1R to reduce a bit of risk. Okay, we hit 1R so we can trail our stop loss. I can't trail it very well. I can probably trail it to about here because the market could test here, could test this higher low. We should be safe if I trail it to there. Downside, there we go, stopped out. Okay, well, at least we didn't get stopped out on the full amount. And right now, the re-engagement point is here. Actually, the prior day's, the current day's high is here. Let's see if the day prints negative. Yeah, it's printing negative. Yeah, prior day's high is here, so we need to get back up there. It's building. Wow, it shot all the way through. I couldn't get in that. So the only thing to do right now is possibly to wait for a higher low, and okay, if this prints a low. Okay, so you see this printed a low. The only thing to do right now is to try and buy through here. Stop loss is going to be at 42,700. No, 42,650. 42,640. 42,600. Yeah, that's where it is. So of course, with the stop losses this large, of course the position size is going to be tiny. But what can you do? It's engaged. Oh, okay, and that was the last update I did to Forex Tester, and it was the 8th of February. So just for curiosity, let's go and see what happened after that. So I just flipped on to TradingView here. This was our most recent trade. We engaged through here with a stop loss down here. So we reached 1R. By the time we reached 1R, there wasn't a really great place to trail the stop. I would have trailed it probably to here, to the 43,700. Okay, then we printed a higher low. Then we went up here to the higher high, but we didn't reach 2R yet. Okay, and then the market came back down. Okay, and printed this, printed the higher low and the lower high. I would have trailed the stop to break even on the rest of this trade, on the whole trade basically, because the market started to go sideways, and there really was nothing else to be done. So this would have been a scratch trade, just a scratch trade with no harm done. And that's that. We basically remained at the same level of that trade. And let's see, what would the engagement point have been? So if we trace, these are days 10th, 11th, we would have had to engage through the highs of the 10th here, but there really was no structure. Okay, the market just went up, and so the engagement point would have been through here. Okay, with a stop loss a little bit below here, perhaps below at 45,760. So the current situation is 45,760 stop loss with a re-engagement at 48,500, and the market is fairly dormant, so it'd just be a waiting game.